Let's give them something to talk about. I see the energy running out. I got a plan.
Jet slap.
I love it. Look at that intro. You guys are so professional.
Sure.
Thank you.
Oh, I love it.
This is podcast number 32. So it only took us 32 episodes to kind of get to where we are with software that is incredibly intuitive. It could probably do it for us. We still,
Sure.
you weren't here for the early episodes. Jen, by the way, Jen Ismar is dialing in. I want to say dialing. I don't know what to say dialing in, but connecting through the internet remotely using Elon Musk's Starlink. Is a satellite upload. And the first time we did, so we didn't have you on without testing this first. I will tell you that part we did. And did you ever meet Matt Souza, Jen, at CrossFit Livermore?
No.
So he's Savon's producer for the Savon podcast. And he owns CrossFit Livermore. I've known him for a number of years. Met him at a CrossFit event down in Santa Cruz. But we had him on because he helped me set up this. He told me what to buy in terms of a mixer board and how to set it up and cameras and stuff. And he even came
the
here.
application.
He knew the application, StreamYard hooked us up with all that. So we made him our first remote guest, and it was a shit show.
It was terrible. It was fucking terrible. The audio didn't work. The internet was out.
We went off. We went back on. And this is like episode number 15 or something.
Yeah. It was bad.
That's what happens when you're live.
Oh my
True,
God.
right?
Yeah.
It makes it exciting. You'll never forget that podcast.
No, good point.
It's still out there, and the audio is trash.
Yeah.
Like Matt's audio came through, but the problem was we ended up going off of, I think, Craig's computer.
Yeah, so like
his computer mic. So
he
it
actually
picked up.
Yes, picked up. Oh, it was horrible.
Felt really bad because that was also Matt's first podcast outside of the Savon podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, it was a good experience for him.
Matt may never be on again. Anyway,
he was nice.
So Jen Ismar is here from her van. She is living the van life. And for those of you that don't, because we have a lot of new members, and some of those new members listen to, I'd like to think they listen to this podcast or watch this podcast. Yeah. And so they don't know Jen Ismar, who was Diablo's general manager for 4 years. I don't remember the exact amount of time.
Yeah.
So
somewhere around there.
Yeah, somewhere around there. She was she came to us through CrossFit Moxie down in San Jose that Diablo acquired. I bought it from a friend of mine who was leaving town, Chris Mitchellmore. And the reason, the primary reason we made there you go. There's Harold. We got one listener.
You even got comments? Look at that. Dude. I'm impressed.
Yeah. And Jen was the reason. Well, so my friend Chris Mitchell was leaving town, and he had his affiliate, and he didn't want to sell it to anybody else because he and I had used to collaborate on stuff, talk about stuff, help each other with the business. And so he's like, I only want Diablo to take this, but I want this community to continue. And the only reason that Yvonne and I did it was because Jen Ismar was there.
Yeah.
And as the general manager running it, and we knew that she had the competency, the capabilities, and then we also saw her as having the capabilities to help influence our business, which she did when she moved up from San Jose to become the general manager for Diablo, and which included Moxie at the time as well. And so that's how we met Jen. Jen came to Moxie via just so to let people know she's an OG. Yeah. She's also a regional athlete.
Games.
Mm-hmm. I've been to the games. I've been to the games.
Oh yeah,
back in 2009 when you only had to be kind of good to get there, but I can still say I've been to the games.
In the games birthing place, right?
Yeah.
Aromas.
Yeah.
Aromas.
So I was in 2009 in Aromas and then 2010 in LA. I was in both.
Oh, really? I didn't know you were
pretty cool.
in Carson.
Wow.
Yeah, the first year it was there. It was such a neat experience. And I mean, it changed so much since that time. But I remember thinking, like, there's so many fit people in one place. Like, I loved it. It was super cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting you said that, because that was one of my first kind of thoughts about the CrossFit Games in Carson as well. That it was a convention of really fit, like-minded, fit people. And I always joke about it. Like you have to train to get in shape to go to the CrossFit Games as a spectator, because it's remarkable how fit everybody was that came to that. But so she's an OG, and so we're going to ask her about if she's still doing CrossFit anymore. She completely abandoned it since she's living in. But is
this what you meant by is anything off limits?
Yes. Oh no, you'll see.
Oh god.
Prior to Diablo San Jose, she was, and this is somewhat related to her current experience. Jen was in Chicago, lived in Chicago, where her family is, and she was general manager of the Windy City CrossFit, head coach there, I believe.
Coach, I wasn't manager.
Coach, and she and there, the Windy City CrossFit is a big facility, and me at the time when I found out, I was like, oh, Windy City, because those guys are legit. Big beautiful facility too. Just I actually had gym envy when I saw their facilities.
And I started when they were in just a small gym with none of the, no fancy bathrooms, and kind of how CrossFit all started, right? I was really lucky to get to start with them.
Which helped us a great deal as well, kind of understanding like priorities in terms of how you spend money within a gym to expand a gym. Do you spend it on equipment versus the facilities itself? All of those things that helped shaped her as an amazing manager for Diablo CrossFit. And then prior to that, and so she picked up and moved out to California literally with like on a whim. So she has that kind of nomad spirit in her, which has led to the current life experience as a van lifer. And then prior to that, which really curious, and a lot of people don't know, prior to that, she worked at Hooters.
You said nothing is off.
You did your homework for this podcast,
which is really good, because it's great because her Instagram for many years prior to she changed, and now it's at Next Gen. Oh, that we should put that up for thing. Jamie can change that. It's at
Next Gen 09.
At Next Gen 09, because prior to that was HTRGR or GRIL or GIRL. And I always thought it was like, at first I thought it was hater girl. I'm like, God, she's just like already like kind of like a negative approach to Instagram. And I want to talk about social media as well too, because I know for a fact that Jen did not like social media, and avoided it and purposely avoided it, and used to tell me that. And I thought that was kind of a nice redeeming quality for Jen. And now she's turned into an influencer, which is amazing too. Yeah, of sorts. But it was a hater girl, which actually, as it turns out, was Hooter girl, which a lot of people don't know about you. Which I think
when I created it came from my email address, and when I came up with that email address, all other version or variation of Hooter or whatever was taken, and so I ended up with that, and now here we are years later. It's coming back to haunt me.
There's more.
No, that job was the best job ever.
Jen?
It was easy. I had 20 hot girlfriends that wanted to go party all the time. I had just broken up with my first boyfriend. Like, it was amazing.
And she looks to the positive of every one of her life's experiences. One of the qualities I really like about her. And she's very humble about her background and her experiences, which has shaped her as a person. And has and I think it's one of the reasons why I relate to her, because I admire her and look up to the things that she has the courage to do. But her vast life experiences, you can't get anything by Jen. If you're working for her, you're working with her, or you're a friend of hers, because she's done it all. And I literally, we've only scratched some of the surface here, and people are like, wow, I never knew she worked for Hooters. There's other stuff you don't know. and it's all really good stuff.
What do you know?
that could shape a book. That could be the foundation for a good book about how to live a wide, varied, fun life. So,
are you working on a book right now?
I think I might be now.
Might as well.
With that setup.
Yeah.
So let's start with, where the hell are you right now?
Do I tell you where I am and all of your listeners? I'm in the like Flagstaff, Sedona area right now, Arizona.
Okay,
So I have a bachelorette party in Scottsdale at the end of June. So that's kind of been determining where I go. So I'm here now.
Do you have a mountain bike with you since you're in Sedona?
I have a kind of hybrid street mountain bike.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to take it on the mountain by myself.
Yeah, Sedona is a great place for mountain biking.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That's why I ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Today I'm in an RV resort. I checked myself in. I got fancy. My birthday's tomorrow. So I was like, you know what? We're splurging. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, the first thing I did was clean the van. Then laundry and shower. And I was like, in heaven. You don't even know like how much those amenities are, like how much you look forward to them when you don't have them all the time.
More grateful and appreciative.
How often? I have a ton because I'm an RV guy. So like, and Jen and I talked about our trip ahead of time, and I got to go see her van and help her with some. Try to help her with some things with her van.
You saved me. Remember, you found out my radiator hose was busted. The guy who fixed it was like, "Dude, if you didn't come in, like you would have been stuck on the side of the road in trouble." And I'm like, "Thank you, Craig."
How often do you pull into RV parks themselves? And for those of you who don't know, there's different varied places you can stop, but RV parks have usually all the places where you can dump your tanks, you can get water, you can plug in, charge batteries, all that stuff. How often are you in RV parks?
Not very often. What I have been doing, like I went to the Grand Canyon recently, and so I checked into one of their campgrounds just to be closer so I could get up early and see the sunrise. So I'll do things like that, but not very often. I don't need to, so like trying to save the money.
The RV parks have gotten, I've noticed this over the last 3 years, especially because of the pandemic, RV parks have gotten pretty expensive. It's not uncommon to pay over $100 a night. Like that's kind of almost a regular thing now.
Paying for a hotel room almost.
It is, and all you're using is water and electricity and maybe sewer if you're staying long enough. And so
for me,
go ahead.
I'd rather have the views. Like I don't want to open my door and see 20 other RVs. I'd rather see the forest. But shower, like showers are key. And then, like I said, if it's to be close to somewhere so I can, do something really early in the morning, then I'll splurge.
Laundry and stuff like that too.
Yeah. Laundry. I've been going to laundry. Do you know, 43 years on this planet, I managed to never have to go to a laundromat until I move in a van.
Oh, wow.
Every apartment I had it, at least in the building. Yeah. And I had to go to my first laundromat, like living in a van. Not a fan.
Yeah. Laundromats, I've done that with the RV, and laundromats are always kind of sketch. They're just
interesting.
Yes. Or what? Yeah.
They're not in great parts of town. And when you're looking on Google, you don't know that until you get there and you're like, I don't think so.
Yeah. And it's almost like a natural filter for a certain type of individual, someone that doesn't have access to washer and dryer, that lives in a city. And if you had to average so far this year, how much you've spent per night to stay, like if you took all your RV places and divided by the total number of nights, how much would you say you've spent on an average per night, including the ones that are zero, right? So
including the ones that are zero.
Yeah. So what are we in? We're in. So in April makes 120 days. You
want me to do math? You didn't tell me this was a prerequisite to be on the show.
If you had to guess, like what your average spend per night is over since the beginning, is it $2 a night? Is it $5 a night? Is it $10 a night?
I don't know per night. So this is the most expensive one. This was $50 a night. I'm here for 2 nights.
Okay.
And aside from that, they've been about $20.
Okay.
And I think I've paid for maybe 5 of those through beginning of May.
Wow. How do you find the best beauty of the van life versus pulling a camper or pop up? How do you know and then I'm gonna add that the next and Jamie, jump in anytime with your question, because Yvonne has a question for you too. But how do you know where to find like the free places to stay that are safe and have a view?
So there's lots of apps. It's almost overwhelming. There's so many apps now. Overlander is one that I use a lot. Seeker is another one, and they're crowdsourced. So people who've been staying at these places will leave a review, the coordinates, sometimes even post pictures. So, and then a lot of it's word of mouth too. Like I've now met so many people that are doing this that I've asked them, like, hey, I'm going to be in Sedona, who's stayed where? Or actually, it just happened. I saw somebody online who's a friend. She was in Sedona, and I'm like, that's beautiful. Where are you? So I'm going to go there next.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So these are the things that you just figure out as you go, right? These are the things that almost stopped me from even doing this in the beginning. Like,
Right.
where am I going to stay? How am I going to do laundry? How am I going to get internet? What am I going to do for work? Like all of those things, but you just figure them out as you go.
It is something about like sometimes you just got to do it, kind of the mentality, and you manage to learn along the way. You get just enough you get just enough base information so you don't kill yourself, and then you and then you get in and you go.
Yeah.
So
And you can't even plan for, like, I could never have planned for how I was going to come across information or the people I was going to meet, or even for the route that I've taken thus far. Like I thought I was going to go hit all the national parks. Like that was my first goal. Still is. But it's been like, hey, come visit me here. Let's go visit this friend there. We're all going to camp together here. So it's just been really, really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So staying in these different places, and this was, Yvonne's thought, and as a single woman. Now, one thing that people probably don't know about Jen that I know also is that she's accomplished.
Ninja?
Yes, she's accomplished.
Self-defense.
But not just ninja, not just martial arts, but Krav Maga, self-defense, Israeli self-defense program. And very good. And as a matter of fact, got my daughter started with bag work that she now, my daughter still does every week with an MMA instructor. But literally, you wouldn't want to CrossFit. Jen can handle herself. This is a former CrossFit Games athlete, super fit, super strong, and knows how to. I've seen her punch. Like it's like she can give you a devastating blow. But my wife, Yvonne, asked, "Does she have a gun?"
No.
Don't give it up.
I have.
Don't give it up.
Because that's like the one thing that everyone's like, oh, you should have a gun. You should have a gun.
I know you know how to shoot.
Yeah. I have shot before, but not enough to feel comfortable with it, especially in such a small space. Like if I shoot in here, does it ricochet? Like I have lots of other weapons. And I don't put myself in situations where I don't feel comfortable. There's always going to be a bit of, security will be kind of a concern. But with the gun, it was like, do I keep it loaded? Where do I keep it? Driving through states. There were just a lot of variables. So I opted not for now.
And how you've been on the road for 8 months, I want to say?
It's been 7 months.
7 months. That was close. Wow. In 7 months, how many experiences have you had that you feel where you felt uncomfortable? Like that's 7 months is what people don't understand. That's a lot of nights. I mean, there's 7 times for this. I'm going to do math again, but it's over 200 nights.
Yeah.
In an RV or I'm staying in places where she's on the road. Of those nights, how many times or how many experiences have you had that you were nervous or scared?
It's funny. So I bought the van. I was living in California. The van was in North Carolina. So I flew to North Carolina to pick up this van, knew nothing about vans, nothing about RVs, nothing about driving something this freaking big. And I drove it across the country to bring it home.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was probably the most scared then. Those first few nights, first few campgrounds finding, like since packing up everything and leaving, I've actually felt pretty good about things. You just get more comfortable the more you do it, right? And I try really hard not to let fear overcome my thoughts. I've had moments where, I start with like, oh, it's really dark. Somebody could be out there. What if there's a bear? And it's like, Or what if nothing happens? You sleep great and tomorrow's a beautiful day. So
Have you ever,
mindset and perception are big.
yeah. Have you ever pulled into a spot and just be like, this is just not feeling right, and just move on to the next?
Yeah. So I was in a Cracker Barrel, and I had a hard time finding that spot as I was traveling to the next destination. So I'd gone to the gym, I worked out, I showered, I pulled in the Cracker Barrel, and I looked to my left, and this guy's like walking up towards me, pants literally around his knees, some kind of knapsack over his shoulder, and he's like strutting, making like eye contact with me. Like I literally had just parked, the lights are on in the van. I'm like, frick. So he walks right up to the van. He's like, sup? And I'm like, not staying here. So I ended up driving like 45 minutes to hit a truck stop that night because, just no.
I guess that's probably one of the nice things about being in a van versus like having an RV where you have to unload and
Christ,
set it up.
Hey, you stay right there while I hook up and plug in and take the chalk blocks out of the trailer.
So a lot of times when I get to a spot, like right away, I put the blinds up. And if I'm in a truck stop or a Cracker Barrel or a Walmart, I try not to get out of the van after I park because I don't want anybody to know I'm the only one in there, that I'm a female.
Yeah.
In the morning, I know I'm leaving. Sure. Then I'll get out, use the bathroom, garbage, whatever I need to do. But he had seen me literally right as I parked. So he knew. Okay. So I didn't feel safe. So I left.
Situation. It's good to acknowledge that and know to boogie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's interesting about that perspective too is that I think if I pull into a parking lot and there's a van there and then the windows are covered, I'm nervous. I'm 6'2", 210, and I pull in. I'm like, ooh, what's in there?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Right. So it's like they have the people that are coming and have the same kind of fear and apprehension.
Goes both ways.
Yeah.
And knowing that gives more confidence.
Yeah.
I thought about getting one of those sound machines with like a dog, like.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Like if somebody walks by or something and it like starts going off.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have those.
Yeah, they've got to. That's great. Or you could just get a dog.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that, but they're not. You can't always take dogs to the places that I want to go, like all national parks.
Yeah.
Then I'm also really clean, and I thought about the dog like being in my bed, and I'm like, no.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But then you have the other thing is with a dog, like in our RV, it makes when you get to places, you have to be more thoughtful about leaving.
Yeah.
You can't just pick up and go for a hike. Can't pick up and go for a run. You got okay, what am I going to do with the dog when I'm gone? And especially it's hot.
When I traveled from Chicago to California, I brought my cat, and he did not travel well during the day. So I was always so worried about him that I couldn't, like we tried to do Mount Rushmore, and I couldn't enjoy myself because I was so worried about him. So I didn't want that with a pet. You know, I may end up getting one down the road, but for now, it's just me.
And the part that, but one of the reasons I want to, there's a whole bunch of questions I want to ask you, but I want to turn a kind of corner into the fitness side of things. One of the challenges that I face when I do a 3-week trip, I've done it, 3 out of the last 5 years, driving out to the CrossFit Games with a trailer so I can stay in the RV because I love staying in the RV park. It's so much fun. And Yvonne likes sleeping in the RV when we're there, if she's competing, because it's, it's her stuff, her bed, her clothes, everything, her bathroom, is working out when I'm on the road for that period of time. How often are you fitnessing when you're on the road?
Right now, twice a day. So I'm doing kind of a version of 75 hard. So the requirements for me are 1 45-minute workout, and then the second one has to at least be 10 minutes and outdoors.
Right.
I walk a ton, but I also have a couple kettlebells. So I do a lot of body weight and kettlebell work. I've been doing a lot of like really long, hard hiking. I've actually been running and enjoying that. So, and I shower a lot at Planet Fitness. So anytime I go there, I'm always getting a workout in as well. I love the gym. and fitness is a big part of my life. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of how for me, right?
Yeah.
And I always have my
That is
body, and I can always do push-ups and lunges and squats. So there's never an excuse.
That's interesting, that thought process, because that's how I think about it too. It's just, I'll figure out something.
Maybe come across a space where you can do some good hill sprints or something like that.
I've done that in the sand.
Yeah.
It was fun
Better. Some,
until the next day.
Yeah, I know. Oh God. The
Holy cow.
for those of you that are listening and thinking about van life, or maybe doing a big van trip or big camping trip, why do you do the Fitness 19 membership?
Planet Fitness.
Planet
he didn't want to say
that one.
Yeah. Why do you do the Planet Fitness membership?
That one specifically, it's low cost, and they have the locations everywhere. I think it's one of the ones that has the most locations across the country.
Right.
So it gives me the most options.
What about showers? Do they all
Of course, yeah. Showers. They all have showers. They even have tanning booths if I want them, massage beds.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The only thing is they don't have a barbell that moves. They have them all locked in those Smith machines. I'm like, there's not one free barbell in this place.
So have you set off the lunk alarm? Is that a real thing?
I have not. It is a real thing, and I actually heard it go off once when I was in one of the gyms.
Lunk alarm.
Yeah.
It really is kind of.
But they have they all have like a functional fitness area. It's got battle ropes and kettlebells and fun stuff to play with.
Sled or something here and there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it actually.
And so a Fitness 19 membership, if you buy
Planet Fitness.
Planet Fitness.
I don't know what's Planet Fitness 19. Planet
Fitness, it's local.
So if you buy a Planet Fitness membership here, it works in any Planet Fitness around the country.
Yeah, they've got a couple different membership options, and one is the regional one.
Oh, that's cool. So that's great. Yeah. That's that
convenient to be able to go and take a shower and just chill.
Yeah, and I plan my routes a lot around where gyms are and like where I'll be going through, and is it going to be where I'm staying, or do I take a shower on the way to my next place? So planning is actually has been the hardest part of this. It's taken way more time than I anticipated or thought it would, as far as like researching the parks, right? And then what am I going to do when I'm there, to where am I going to stay, to when do I need water and food and groceries, and where am I going to take my next shower? Like all of these things. There's a lot to think about.
I've noticed in RV reservations, especially the state parks, or including the state parks, that because of the pandemic and work from home,
busy.
Yeah. It's difficult to get reservations. You have to book them way in advance.
Yeah.
Is that the case with the places you go to?
Yeah, the one I stayed at in Grand Canyon, they had like 15 first come first serve spots. So I got there at 6:30 in the morning. They opened at 8 to be able to get one of those spots for the day.
Wow.
For just the day. That wasn't
just
like
for the day.
That wasn't
Wow. And was there a line to get in?
No, for the night.
Yeah, no. So when you got there though, was there a line to get in?
I was the first.
Oh, you were the first.
Yeah, I was actually the first, but a guy came right after me, and then people started filtering in pretty soon after that. So,
okay. What was your question regarding fitness?
Are you dropping in any CrossFit gyms?
Oh, that's a good one.
I have not, and it's not. I've wanted to. Like that was one of the things I wanted to do on the road, was to get to check out other gyms.
Yeah,
it's just been more planning where I'm staying. It's harder money, right? Like I'm trying not to pay for stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
that, and also I'm sure having like the Planet Fitness, I messed up. Fitness 19. But you also have like the showers. Not every CrossFit gym is going to have showers and the amenities you would run into. That makes sense.
And what I paid for Planet Fitness the whole month is what it would cost me to get into a CrossFit gym for one day.
Right.
So
really? Ours is $34 for a drop in at Diablo.
Yeah.
And I can understand that we're not ideal. We discriminate against van lifers.
It's fine. I'll do my own CrossFit workouts.
If you come in van, here's a discounted rate.
Jamie and I were speculating about what kind of equipment you have in your van as well for fitness.
I'm sure kettlebells. I mean, you already said kettlebells, but I was like, kettlebells is the best thing to carry on.
Yeah.
Maybe a jump rope.
Totally. Kettlebells. I have a jump rope. I've got bands. I have a handstand board so I can do my handstand work. I actually brought a little trampoline.
Really?
So before I left, I had a vibration plate at home, which, okay. So I used to work at a cryo place and they had this vibration plate and I would like roll my eyes at the vibration plate until I had this knee thing. And the only thing that helped me was the vibration plate. So then I had it in my head and I did more research into vibrations. And that's what our whole body's made of. And so it helps just rebalance you. And I couldn't bring the vibration plate. It was heavy, big, and it plugs in.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting the rebounder, the trampoline. But it's like all the way under the storage in the back of everything. So guess how many times it comes out?
Just gonna ask how often have you used it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I brought that don't get used just because they're tucked way in the back of the storage place.
The logistics of just using it, pain in the ass.
Those are all the things that you learn through experience, like storage, sizing stuff down, where you store it, accessibility.
Yeah.
Getting the stuff you use the most gets priority, like that's in the front.
Mm-hmm.
I had gotten a flat tire. Sorry. I had gotten a flat tire, which my tire is on top of the van. Oof. So I had to wait for somebody to come help me because I couldn't get it down. I was literally on the highway and I needed my air compressor to fill up the spare. Well, the air compressor was literally in the last bin all the way in the back. So I'm at this gas station, which was not in a good part of town. It's like 9 o'clock at night. I'm scared because now I have an hour's drive on the spare tire that I'm not really comfortable with. And I have to literally take all my stuff out and like display it. Like people are looking and it was really violating, because like people want to see like, oh, in your van. And I remember feeling like really violated that I had to take all my stuff out to get the air compressor that was in the back.
Oh, that's a good story. Yeah. But that's a real story. And it's, even just casual RVing, you're going to have those experiences. And that's why one of the things I found, I wonder if you find the same thing with respect to RVers. I go to the RV parks and they're very, especially the old RVers that have been there a while or been on the road a while. They're just seasoned, but they have just an incredible amount of knowledge. They're supremely confident and they're willing to help because it's like they know what you're going through.
Well, they probably also learned by somebody else that was equally experienced that shared with them the knowledge, so might as well pass it down.
Isn't that what life's all about? Learning things and then teaching the next generation so they don't have to go through the same struggles and then they learn more and that's how we keep progressing.
Yes. Very well. And it's something that is found. It is something that's a unique characteristic of CrossFit gyms.
Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also that it's one of the things why I like RVing and RV parks, and I'm sure for you, the van life, it's that the person that's on the road that's traveling doing that is the same type of person. Mm-hmm. Like they're resourceful,
totally.
They can take care of stuff, they can handle themselves in a situation, and they want to help other people.
And they might even have a little extra because they know that this is going to be helpful to somebody else.
It's partly what makes it addictive. Yeah. Every time we go I've never had in an RV park. I can't say that I've ever had a bad experience with a neighbor or someone else. It's really kind of a cool thing.
The people that I've met on this journey so far have just been incredible.
Right.
And it was not something I expected or thought. It's probably been my favorite part. Like even over the beautiful places that I've seen are just these incredible people. I've met more people in the last 7 months than I have in the last 5 years. It's crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah.
What's your favorite spot you've been to?
Good question.
Oh, that's such a hard question. Well, because I just came from the Grand Canyon. That was just wow. Like literally, I was like, I couldn't even believe it.
Were you able to set up the RV where you have like the picture perfect opening of the day?
I did. You don't watch my stories, do you?
I might have missed that one. I do watch your stories. I might have missed it.
Yeah, on the way out, I did like Desert View Drive, and there's several places you could pull off, and so I backed the van in and had my breakfast there. It was just amazing.
That's beautiful.
It's still you see it in pictures. One of those things. That's why the national parks are so amazing because you see it in pictures. You can go online, and you can see it on the computer screen. They're pretty cool, but until you're actually there, And Grand Canyon, I suspect, is like, it's been I was there as a teenager, I think was the last time I was there, and I'd love to take Alana there. And I don't know that Yvonne's been there. Yvonne and I went there. We drove there once we were coming back from.
Come back from the games or something?
No, not even not Texas. We were coming back from when I was going to graduate school, and she was driving with me on the way back. But we started driving up to the Grand Canyon, and it was a freaking snowstorm. You couldn't see 6 feet in front of you. And we're like, oh, I was so bummed because I wanted to show her. But I just remember as a kid it being jaw dropping. So that was the experience that you had. I'm glad to hear that. And the weather was good when you were there?
It was perfect. It was a little windy the second day, but that's the day I did the Bright Angel Trail, which is a really tough, it's like literally 3,000 feet down and then 3,000 feet back up. I was so this was a good kind of mindset. So I went to the Indian Gardens, or the Havasupai, they call it now. So it took me 6 hours round trip. But mindset was a big part of that hike because I did a lot of research into it, what I was going to need, where I was going to go. And everyone kept saying how hard it is, it's hard. And so that gets in your head. And as I was starting the down, I kept thinking, I have to come back up this. Like, this is going to be the hardest hike I've ever done. This is going to be hard. And I was like, whoa, like, let's not ruin this beautiful view, this beautiful hike by worrying about what it's going to feel like on the way back up.
Right.
And so on the way back up, when those thoughts start of like, this is hard, I'm getting tired, I'm hot. I got this phrase from Tony Robbins. He's like, every day in every way, I'm getting stronger and stronger. And so I would just repeat that. And it really helped just like quiet the noise, and it allowed me to keep moving. And it was not like, it was hard, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't bad. And I could watch the other people and see who had given up and who was listening to those voices of, I'm hot, it's tired, I don't want to do this. But it's like, you're going to have to climb it up. Like, you're here. There's no other option. You can either make it miserable for yourself, or you can just enjoy it and get through it and, let it make you stronger physically, mentally, all the things.
You've got that perspective. I mean, coming from a fitness background and training, still making that a big priority of your life while you're out journeying. A lot of people that probably did say, oh, it's so hard, probably don't have that kind of background or that kind of experience, just fitness in general.
It's mindset.
And this is one of the great things.
Yeah. What's that?
About CrossFit. Like, this is one of the great things about CrossFit, right? Is it really helps people push through the pain.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Is it going to hurt? Are you going to be uncomfortable? Yes. But how amazing do you feel afterwards? Right? And look at who's doing it with you, and they're not dying, so you're going to be okay. Like, our mind will give up way before our body ever will. And so I remind myself of that too when I think like, I can't go anymore, it's too hard. That's just my mind. I know my body has way more in it. And so if I can do something to quiet that noise, I can keep going.
And you're quieting the mind is the Tony Robbins quote.
Yep. The mantra.
Yeah, because it gives you something else to focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Because we can't stop those thoughts. So I can either listen to them or give my brain something else to focus on.
Right. Yeah. To repeat, short, sweet, repeat.
Good move.
Yeah. That's cool. RJ says hi, by the way. So that's RJ. Yeah.
Okay.
It comes up as a user here. Are you on Facebook?
Yeah, so I pulled up Facebook because I can see the comments through Facebook.
Awesome.
Which takes me. Now, RJ said he does watch your stories, and for those that don't know Jen's complete personality and background, when she first came to Diablo, she talked about her disdain for posting on social media. She just wasn't that person, and just didn't told me that she just didn't like doing posts. It wasn't going to do a lot of posts, and she would occasionally post on for her benefit, but also for Diablo CrossFit benefit. So now you're online quite a bit, and it's kind of part of your persona. Why did you decide to make that switch? And then how comfortable are you with it now?
So the reason I didn't like it before was how it made me feel.
Right.
It would give me anxiety if I would see other coaches. Like, I followed a lot of people that were in my industry, but then it's the well, look at how much they're posting. I don't talk about that. Look at how their videos look. Look at how my videos look. And so there's a lot of comparison and judgment, and the whole like people post their highlight reel, right? All the things that is going right, that's good. And it makes you feel bad because your life's not like that. Nobody's life is really like that. And so that's why I kind of stayed away from it. But it's now my business. It's now how I connect with people, keep in touch with people. I can share my journey. It's how I get clients and customers. And I've learned to use it to share in a way that makes me feel good because it's very authentic. Like I'm an open book. I'll tell you about all the mistakes I've made because I've made a lot so that you don't have to, right? And it just helps people maybe feel like they're not alone. And the more I found, the more that I've shared my journey and the more I've shared my struggles and the things that I've gone through, the more I heal from them, the better I feel. So now I don't scroll through social media to see what everyone else is doing. I share or I have genuine conversations. And I've gotten some of the most amazing comments about how I've helped people see things differently or made them feel better, like they're not alone, or given them the courage to do something. And like that just fills my cup up. And so it allows me to kind of keep going.
I've in Jen's entire time working with me and for me, I never once saw her cry, and that's something that I can't say about every employee that's I've worked with. For there's something about me I've recognized that that creates,
It's a bit of a hard
creates
ass.
emotional anxiety in others, and but that never happened with Jen. And Jen was always willing to go toe to toe when necessary and help me see the right way of things often. But I have seen you cry on social media, and which was fascinating for me. It was very revealing that you do that you were not that you were capable, but that you had gotten into a situation that in your travels that allowed you to that made you cry, and that you were willing to share it with others was fascinating to me. And again, another impressive quality about you, because it was a really compelling post. And so that's impressive. I don't know that this is a question, it's more of an observation.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you want me to talk about what it was?
Well,
why not?
So anyone that's going to listen or maybe listening now is going to want to know, okay, what the hell happened?
I want to know what
cry.
happened.
Yeah.
It wasn't the
So I spent
if you're willing to
the
talk.
winter. Yeah, totally. I told you, I'm an open book. I don't mind sharing it all. So I spent the winter in Arizona, mostly for the weather, but I ended up meeting a guy and we got in a relationship, and it got like pretty hot and heavy very fast. And I was almost going to sell my van, move to Arizona, like for this relationship. And it was such a good lesson for me of like how not to change who I am for somebody else. Leaving there was really hard. I did end up leaving because everything inside of me, all my spidey sense was like, no, you just got this van, you just started your journey. You don't want to go back to the same life of working for somebody else, working in a gym, 9 to 5 type stuff. Like, keep going. And so I made the tough decision to continue on my journey, and I'm so glad that I did. But it was just a really good lesson of, one, trust your intuition, because it turned out he was lying to me, and two, don't change who you are for somebody else. Like, the person you're going to be with it's going to be a good fit. You'll complement each other. You don't have to completely change or give up for another person. But I think for me, it had been 10 years since I had been in a relationship. So I just wanted it to work. Like, now looking back, if I'm honest, I was willing to change and give up who I was to make the relationship work, because I had the mindset of, what if I don't get this again? What if I don't meet somebody else? Like, this is my last chance. But now being on the other side of it, it's like, what? No, of course I'm going to meet the right person. This was just a good stepping stone on the way. So that was the situation.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. It is, and it's good to share that one. I think in particular because people, I think especially for van life, they want to know, is this, is she going through all aspects of life, or is she just, kind of in this like narrow hallway of experiences, life experiences that are just focused on travel and seeing things. And it's not. It's the full range. Like you're getting the full range of relationships and emotions and everything else that go with it. Gwen says hi, by the way.
Hi, Gwen.
And yeah, and so
The interesting thing
go ahead.
about that is like I kept thinking I needed to be in a relationship to be happy. Just like I thought I've needed to have a lot of money to be happy, or I needed to have a certain car to be happy, or I needed to have a certain body to be happy. And I got it, and I was happy, but the idea of selling all my stuff and going out to that life, like that did not make me happy. And now being on the other side, I'm like, I kind of don't want to be in a relationship. I get to do whatever I want to do, go wherever I want to go. I don't have to ask anybody. And it's so freeing. So I'm just really content with where things are right now.
That's awesome.
On the another question that I'm curious about, and I know I think other people will want to hear that are especially in the CrossFit community, is how do you do your meal planning and meal prep, and what do you do when you're traveling? And by traveling I mean just actually on the road.
So failing to plan is planning to fail. I live by that quote. It really just all is thinking in advance. So right now with the challenge that I'm doing, at my three main meals, I have to have a protein plus 2 veggies. So that means I'm cooking or I'm eating raw, veggies, but I always have to have fresh vegetables on hand for that. And it's just about knowing when I'm going to run out, making sure I hit at the grocery store. As far as meal planning, I've never been a great meal planner, cooker, recipe person. I literally construct my meals by thinking, where's my protein? What veggies do I have? And then what starch or fat am I going to add to that? And so if I know I'm going to have a travel day or I'm going to be driving, I have stuff pre-made. With breakfast, I'll make lunch and dinner, or I'll have a salad ready, or, I'll stop and use that time my oven and my stove comes with me everywhere. So I pull over at a rest stop, I could cook my food if I want. But it's forward thinking, knowing when I'm going to have time, what I need to do, and making sure I have enough food on me.
How often do you eat out? And by eating out, I mean restaurants, fast food, that kind of stuff.
Very rarely. I've always it's funny. I don't really enjoy cooking. I'm not someone who loves to cook. I enjoy having control over what ingredients are in my food, the freshness of it, the quality. So I would say I eat out probably 5 times a month.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. What do you how about alcohol? Do you drink, and is it something that, because you're on the road essentially on this, what others might perceive as a lifelong vacation, is there and when the RVers get together, do you guys all party? How much of a part of your van lifestyle includes alcohol?
It's funny you say the vacation thing real quick, because I had a friend who was watching her stories, and she was on a 2-week or 2.5-week vacation in Europe. And I was like, wow, it must be so great to have 2 weeks off. I've never taken a 2-week vacation. And then literally after I typed it, I was like, oh, I'm kind of on a permanent vacation. What am I talking about?
That's good.
But for the challenge, again, for 75 days, I have not been drinking at all.
Right.
Before that, very rarely. I'm not somebody who wants a beer by the fire. I enjoy having a drink, like a nice margarita. If I'm going to a restaurant with friends, that would be something that I would want to drink. But just hanging out, especially by myself, I don't. So it's just kind of special occasions if we're somewhere. And maybe if there was a group of us together, people aren't really big drinkers. Some people will have, a couple drinks, but it's not a big focus. Most people are just live a really healthy lifestyle.
That, and you're so busy. It's like to sit down and have a few drinks. It's like you're going to pay for it on the back end. It's like you've got stuff to do. You've got places to be. It's just another speed bump, if anything.
Yeah. Is your day fully occupied every day?
Yes. I mean, it's hard. Like every day's different. Every day is different. Every week is different. Depends on if I'm at a campground or if I'm parked somewhere or if I'm in a Walmart. But I have certain habits and routines that I do no matter what. Like we fall to the level of our habits when life gets crazy, right?
Yeah.
So that keeps me kind of grounded. But I do definitely mix in recovery time and time for chilling out and watching Netflix or, just going for a relaxed walk because it's important to have that recovery. Like the last few days for me have been go, 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 go. And I felt it. Like yesterday I was like tired. So I just relaxed. I did laundry, I did chores, I painted my nails, I did, things that don't take much brain power. And then I feel much better today.
Every place you go to, are you connecting with friends at every stop? That are you now at the point where your meetups, where your overnights and your periods of time where you're stopping, planned around connecting with other van lifers?
No, not every time. I enjoy being by myself as well. So it's really nice to meet up with people, have some friends, and then be like, okay, I'm going to go off my own for a couple weeks.
Right.
But the other day so when I was in Vegas, I met a good group of girls that all love to go on adventures. And I met them here in Arizona. We all did this hike and went to this waterfall. It was really, really cool. And then they went back and I went on my own way.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. And at night when you're winding down, is it Netflix just like everybody else?
Not every night. A lot of times I won't have internet. So that kind of determines things for me.
Right.
I read. I'll read at night and then meditate. I'll do a meditation.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the internet, like with the Starlink, like, is it good? Is it working well for you?
So,
I think everybody wants
Really
to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because anybody
All
that's
right.
internet their cost of I've been to Starlink. I know how much that costs. I'm like, okay, there's an initial investment.
Yeah.
Cost. You can turn it on and off when you want.
Yeah.
But is Starlink worth it?
Yeah. So I did a lot of research about internet, right?
Yeah.
Before I embarked on this journey. And to me, that was a priority because having internet is my job. Like it's how, again, I reach out, but also being by myself, like for navigating and things, like I needed to know that I had the best chance of always having connection. So Starlink was that. And for the most part, yes, it's great. It is a little bit harder if you're in forests with trees because it needs a view of the sky.
Yeah, right.
And then my other gripe about this Starlink thing is the freaking cord is like 100 feet. And can I tell you how many times that thing has been knotted? Like it just wants to go every time I undo it. And so I'm like, ugh, and I'll just like throw it in the van. I don't have it mounted. So it's a bit of a hassle to like, I have to go through the window and there's a cord. My window's partly open because the cord's hanging out. And, but you know what? I have internet. So
that's right there. Okay. So when you're RVing, like those are the things, that little tidbit right there are the tidbits that you don't find out about until you experience it. I know exactly what you're talking about, whether it's my plug-in cord, my electrical plug-in cord, or the hose, the water hose that's coiled. And it's one of those permanently fucking coiled hoses where you try to straighten it on the kinks. But the cable for Starlink. Okay.
So I would like lay it all out straight and I'm doing the whole wrap around. And somehow there's like all these twists. And I'm like, hey, like what? How did that happen? Somebody needs to do something about this cord.
I saw this thing and I've been trying. I'm actually going to bring in a bucket and just do it to one of our long ass extension cords here in the gym. But if you take if you have space for like a 5-gallon bucket or even just a smaller bucket, space. I know it's a factor, but if you cut a little hole at the bottom of it where you're going to plug it into the modem and then the other extend goes to the satellite, right? You just roll it into the bucket. So then when you need it, you just pull it out and it just comes right out. And then when you need to put it back, you just roll it out.
This is something you've seen on the internet.
I have it. I have it on my 100-foot extension cord, and it's the most efficient thing.
Does it work?
Oh, it's fucking perfect.
Oh, okay.
It's beautiful. So
this cord is different though. It's a different material. It bends differently. It's really yeah.
It's just a thought. It's yeah. I can imagine if it's wanting to coil its own way, then it's got a mind of its own.
How often are you putting small stuff again? How often are you stopping and putting filling up your van?
Like provision?
Filling up my van with
gas. Oh, a diesel in your case.
Oh, it depends on how far I'm driving. So I like to take my time. I don't want to drive 5 hours here and then drive 5 hours there. I try to drive a couple hours and be somewhere for a while, or drive another couple hours. Okay. There's been times where I've had to make longer drives, but just for enjoyment, I don't sit. I can't. Gosh, when I sit and drive for more than 3 hours, so antsy.
Yeah, I'm sure a nice little yoga session after sitting for X amount of hours is.
So you're probably filling up maybe once a week.
I mean, it really depends on how much I'm driving, where I'm moving. I try to be somewhere for a week. So ideally, I'll be somewhere for at least 5 days. After 5 days, I need a shower, like a real shower. So I'm usually moving somewhere.
You have a portable shower that you can use in a fix, right?
Yeah, I have an outdoor shower, which I've used once.
Oh.
So I was in Vegas. And I had been in my spot for 5 days, and I'm like, yeah, we're going to bring out the shower. So I get out this shower tent that I bought on Amazon, which on Amazon, they're like, poof, here it goes. It pops up, and then you put it away. So first of all, I couldn't get all the stakes in the ground because the ground was just really hard. I got 2 in. So I'm in there. There's nowhere to put your stuff. So I set it on the van. The wind is blowing. So the thing keeps blowing up and over. I'm on dirt. So as soon as I turn the water on, now it's mud, and now I'm muddy, and it's splattering up my body. So now I'm dirtier than when I started. And then I dropped the soap. And then let me talk about how to put this thing away. Do you know it took me probably an hour to refold this thing, because I was I'm trying to watch the video and do it, and I just could not. So we've showered one time with the outdoor shower.
Again, see, this is the story. This is a valuable tip. If anybody's watching this is thinking about the van life, these are the things you need to know. That's classic.
It's kind of like living on a boat.
I should have videoed it. It was hilarious.
It is. I'm sure it's probably very similar to living on a boat. Yeah.
Just you can hop on a bike and go somewhere if you want.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the next big place that you're off to?
So I'm going to head to Sedona. I'm going to be there for a while, and then I'm making my way down to Scottsdale, like I said, about a bachelorette party at the end of the month. So I took a house sit right before that. So one of the things that I learned from another van lifer was there's a website called Trusted House Sitters, where you don't get paid, but I get a free place to stay, laundry, shower, kitchen. So I'm watching their animals while they go out of town. Oh, and awesome. For me, I love pets. So I get some fur babies to play with. And then sometimes it's nice to just get off the road and not have to worry about where I'm going to sleep, or being able to take a shower every night if I want to. So I'm doing that before.
Is that through an an app or something, or are you just through your own network?
Yeah.
People you're talking with?
No, Trusted House Sitters. And I paid for that. I had to pay for the website, but then there's no money exchanged for the house sits.
That's really cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you do pet sitting too, or is that part of the deal?
Yeah. So that's basically they want you to stay at their house because they have pets, right?
Oh, okay.
So they don't have to board their pets, whether it's cats or dogs.
Right.
But they'll put pictures of their place. And so I'm choosing the houses that have beautiful views. I stayed in a place in Apache Junction that was gorgeous. It backed right up to the mountains. Like it was just beautiful. So it was a really cool experience.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's almost like getting a vacation on your vacation.
That's when social media and the
Totally.
internet. That's when social media and the internet's awesome.
Yeah.
Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
What a great
Yeah.
combination. Fantastic. And okay, so and at the do you know where you're going to be yet at the end of July, and then beginning of August?
Madison, perhaps.
So, I have a friend in San Diego, actually Yolanda, who I met at CrossFit Moxie.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be out of town for a few weekends in July. So she had asked if I would come watch their cat. So I am likely going to do that. And then the bachelorette party, the wedding is in Tahoe in middle of August.
Okay.
So, which will be nice because I'll come home, right? I'll come home and visit people. And
I was just going to ask, are you going to be working way back out to the Bay? But you nailed it. You answered it for me.
Okay, that's good. So then
it's interesting. I call it home because, like, when people ask me that now, like, where are you from? I'm like, how do I answer that question? Born in Chicago, lived in California the last 10 years. Now home is wherever I am.
Yeah,
that's great.
Home is where the heart is.
Well, genuinely for you. Well, thank you for being on today and sharing this with us because it's
great to see you.
This is just yet another thing that you've done in your life that I admire, and it defines, in my mind, it kind of defines you as a person, and it's extremely admirable. And there's so much about it that I envy. In terms of what you're doing, and I think a lot of people would like to be able to have the courage and the capacity and the wherewithal to be able to go do what you're doing. So thank you for sharing it online, and thanks for being online. And man, please come train with us when you're back.
Yeah, for sure. You're not going to charge me $34, are you?
Too much showers.
You heard it.
I told you she'll go toe to toe with me. And yeah.
Then yes, I'll be there.
Yes. That's so good. Well, you can, and what's great about the Diablo parking lot is like this parking lot's as safe as probably any place you're going to stay at. You can park right here in the parking lot. Yeah. Sure. Or my driveway, if you want to.
The full
amenities.
The full treatment.
Yep. Well, that's cool. Well, thanks for being on. This is a fun discussion. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I had fun too.
All right, cool. Have a great time on your next part of your journey, buddy.
Thank you. See ya.
See you guys.